Rich Tehrani, we're at the IT Expo Tech Super Show 2020 in Fort Lauderdale. On our show today, we're very fortunate to have Cameron Weeks with Edify. He's got a really cool platform we're going to talk about. Cameron, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I've interviewed you a number of times, but I don't think in video. This is our first, right?
Yeah, it's our first video.
Fantastic. So you guys have a really, I'd say, breakthrough digital transformation platform for omni-channel. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, the general idea was there's all this trend of moving UCaaS and CCaaS and APIs all together into one brand and buying those from one vendor. But all that's happening through acquisition and not native technology. And so we wanted to build a platform that would really unite the entire enterprise together and also have a common source code, if you will, that was built for the ground up from day one to accomplish those things, not something that was bolted together through decades of acquisitions and multiple different technologies, because in the end of the day, we all know those things market well, but don't actually perform to the level that we'd hope.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll perform in the beginning, but then as time goes on, there are all sorts of issues where things don't work well together. One thing breaks, right? It becomes kludgy, and then the people who built those different systems tend to leave, and it becomes a bear, right?
Yeah, I think the easier way to explain this versus all of the technical jargon I threw out is that very simply, if I was texting you and we were just discussing a trip, a golf trip or something we're going to go on, and it became too complicated to work out the details of the trip over text message, and I wanted to call you, I would just call you. I wouldn't call an entirely different friend and start the entire conversation over again with that person just because I needed to change the channel in which I'm communicating on. But as ridiculous as that sounds in our personal life, that is literally the reality of every time we engage with a brand in the world today. That if I'm chatting you or texting you, if I want to talk on the phone or talk over email or talk over a video conversation, we have to start the entire conversation over again from start to finish, and that's just a ridiculous reality that we would never, agree to in our personal lives, and we're kind of forced into it on the enterprise side.
That's really a great example, isn't it? Because your technology allows contact centers to communicate with people the way they want to communicate, and nowadays that means they often do want to share video, they often do want to text, they often do want to use their cell phone technology that they're used to in their social lives.
Yeah, and I think this naturally is occurring inside of contact centers, which is a bit risky, that agents are just trying to solve customers' problems, and so sometimes they're just going to their personal devices and having those conversations because it's just what needs to happen to get the technology out of the way to solve the problem. And so, long story short, we really think that companies want to solve these problems as well, and that it's not that they don't want to solve them, which is why it hasn't happened. It's that the vendors that are currently in the market and providing solutions, they don't lend the technology to actually do these things. So, not that companies don't want to do it, it's that they don't have the ability to even consider doing it, that the operational changes they're making are tied to the availability of technology, not what they actually want to do in their businesses.
And that's a good point. There are millennials in the contact center that are used to these technologies and do go above and beyond for their customers, but by doing so, they risk cybersecurity issues, compliance issues, regulatory issues, and the list goes on.
Completely. We can't run a 500-person call center on iPhones. That's not a scalable, sustainable business model. There's inherent issues inside of that. And so building a platform that really can excel at the enterprise level, but still give the flexibility of just pulling out your iPhone and starting to use it.
And I don't want Tim Cook mad at me, so I'm just going to disavow that. That's Cameron said that wasn't me.
I think he would agree.
I'm sure. So what's next for the company, and what can people see here at the show?
Yeah, putting this all together, the idea behind this whole company became because we're customers too. We're solving a real problem for the world, and that everyone truly hates customer service. And it's been this thing we've talked about for 30 years. Wouldn't it be better if we finally just actually use technology to solve the core problem? So what's new for us is that we're going to keep pushing that agenda forward. We're going to keep talking about this, how we actually can unlock technology, put it in the background even, and just let people connect with one another to solve problems, because that's what everyone wants to do. And if we're successful, the outcome of this isn't to build a giant technology company, it's to give the world back the time that we waste and lose on wait time, sitting on hold.
And Cameron, correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the day when I wrote about this some months back, it was relatively easy, it was free to try, people could just set it up and just do it, right?
Yeah, not to get on a whole nother soapbox here, but transparency in software, I think, is a whole new trend that's going to come. And everyone's kind of been led to believe that software isn't really real. It's kind of software is a screenshot, or the demo you get isn't the software that's available. We wanted to flip that on its head. And so if you go to edify.cx, you can actually activate an account where the first 5 users are free forever. And it's the full software suite. There's nothing hidden, there's nothing redacted from it. So you actually can go give a full test run of this thing and kick its wheels and make sure that you like it before you ever engage with us in a sales process.
Really unusual, and it goes above and beyond, and it's very exciting. How do people find you if they want to learn more online?
Yeah, just go to edify.cx, and then we're all over social media as well.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.